all started when I met a woman on the train.
I'm Elise.
I'm Frank.
That's a terrible name.
It's the only one I've got.
Maybe we can find you another.
Okay. I have a strange feeling that those two people over there are watching us.
I think you're right.
Really?
No.
Frank! Come with me.
Elise Ward and husband.
You're ravenous.
Do you mean ravishing?
I do.
Man, Johnny Depp just cannot look normal with whatever he's doing. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's a good-looking guy, but in this movie, okay, the title says it all. He's a tourist.
Yeah.
You know, he's in Italy. He's just the average guy. In fact, he's so average, they try to make you believe, like, he's not just a teacher. He's not just, like, a college level teacher, but he's teaching community college.
Right. Well, he's not Joe the plumber here, you know. He's a smart, normal guy. He's upper middle class.
But all I'm saying, is
no handsome teachers at community college.
Yeah, and he wouldn't be touring Italy if he was like, you know.
That's what I'm talking about.
He's the first normal guy I've ever known to wear mascara.
That's what I'm talking about. If he was like a community college teacher, he would be fat, overweight, and hanging out at Fiesta, Texas.
Oh, well, perhaps he teaches goth studies there.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, because he's supposed to be like some dude he's suffering from a broken heart, so he's traveling over in Italy.
All right, I got to stop. Is the Italian mafia like taking over Hollywood? That so many movies are trying to showcase Italy as a beautiful romantic place?
No.
tax breaks.
Not at all. I was hoping that would.
I don't know. I guess it's tax breaks or something.
I
don't
would
know.
assume it's
But
probably that.
Yeah,
Okay.
but you know, he's trying to get over a broken heart, traveling over in Italy, just trying to, you know, mend himself. Sure. And even then he's still going around looking like one of the Three Musketeers or some shit. He's got that crazy hair.
Speaking like Keith Richards.
What are you going to talk about? Yeah, Johnny Depp. He's weird looking. Who'd ever be attracted to him?
Now, keep in mind, I said he was still a handsome guy. He just can never be normal handsome.
I'm just saying that, like, maybe he is normal handsome, because how many years has he been off the top 5 of world's sexiest men of any given poll for that anywhere? I mean, come on. Every woman in the world wants to have sex with Johnny Depp. You know, I'm saying that apparently is normal good looking now.
I know Johnny Depp is going to be in the mirror one day pouring gasoline on half his face, trying to make himself look like Two-Face.
Just so I can
this
be weird.
curse that I have.
That's why he keeps working with Tim Burton, because he's the only guy who'll make him ugly in his movies.
I keep asking myself, whatever happened to the 21 Jump Street Johnny Depp? The one I used to love.
Supposedly
What happened to that?
he's going to do a cameo in the new movie. So.
I heard he wants to. He's actually begging for it.
Oh, like they're going to turn him down.
I'd be surprised.
It's not like Mr. T in the A-Team,
Johnny
you know?
who?
I don't know. I think Richard Grieco is blocking him on that.
I'm the star, bitch.
I took over after you left. You're not taking this away from me.
You saw what happened last time you tried that dick.
That guy's too busy trying to paint in his eyebrows again.
I know, that's the other thing. He's walking around with mascara on and all this. He's almost like he's so good looking, like he just has to try different things to ugly himself up or make himself look weird. I mean,
Even though I thought he looked kind of pudgy in this movie.
He did look a little bit bloated.
Yeah, he did
Yeah.
look-
Well, he
And
could use it because he's always looked like really skinny and tiny.
And I actually thought, I was like, you know what? That makes sense. He's a math teacher. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I could see him like, you know what? I'm going to put on like about 10 pounds.
Yeah, math
But
teachers
he
eat a lot of
still
hot
looked-
pockets.
Like when we gained 10 pounds, we look like Jabba the Hutt. But when
Yeah.
it's Johnny Depp, I'm like, the fuck, dude? You might as well put a mole, like a hairy mole on your face too or something.
I know, yeah, Johnny Depp. I'm sorry, man. You just can't do it. You just
he cannot uglify himself.
I'd love to hear him in a press conference. He's like, oh yeah, man, I gained 10 pounds for the role, and Christian Bale's in the back going, oh, good for you.
Here we go.
I know. And meanwhile, Johnny Depp has picked up a pen off the table. Stupid face. Dumb, stupid face.
He gains 10 pounds and he's still able to attract Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
All goddamn people in the world to attract.
That's the whole thing. Is like, I guess he's like, yeah, I'll be in this movie with Angelina Jolie. I mean, she's always in the top 5 of world's sexiest women. You know, I mean, at least they won't all be looking at me. You know,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
you know, she's like the world's sexiest stick figure at this point. She's still hot, but
yeah.
you know,
Watching this movie, I honestly thought this is like another one of Angelina Jolie's like fucking web traps as far as getting like the hottest male actors in
Didn't you?
town.
Me too, yeah.
Because the whole time I'm thinking, wow,
Brad Pitt better watch
how
it.
Convenient. Yeah, they just happen to be making a movie in Venice, you know,
And she's
with Johnny Depp. Finally,
she's
after all
totally
these years.
his type too. I mean, he loves
Yeah.
it. He used to date Kate Moss. I mean,
that's right.
Jesus Christ, she's practically fat. By
That's right, people. So you heard it here first. Johnny Depp and Angelina Jolie, they fucked.
Yeah.
You can't tell me any different.
But Johnny Depp saw those kids and he was like, "All right,
Yeah,
we fucked. We're done.
Yeah, Johnny Depp is like,
I don't want
damn
a piece
girl,
of
you.
that,
I fuck you. You don't fuck me."
Yeah, Johnny Depp. Oh, he takes her up to the hotel room, opens up the bag, and there's like about 10 black babies that fall out of it.
They're all wearing T-shirts that say "Hello, Daddy."
I just said with me the thing. Brad Pitt would just stand there with all those kids draped around him and say, "Go for it, dude. You're gonna fall in and be able to climb out."
it's all you.
Johnny Depp is looking at Brad Pitt, reaching out his arm. Help me, get them off of me. He's like, it's your problem now, man. In fact, he kicks him back to the pile. No!
Tag.
You're it. New white daddy.
Angelina Jolie turns into that golden bitch from Beowulf, traps his ass once again.
People, I'm sure you're asking yourself right now, what does any of this have to do with the tourist?
So far, we have discussed that two people are in it.
What
are we on, 10 minutes now?
What we're talking about is actually like a full price movie right now.
Yeah, because what you see in this movie, I don't think is nearly as exciting. Even though it is very romantic and very beautiful. As we mentioned, Johnny Depp is a guy, average guy, even has an average name, Frank. Frank is traveling. Yeah, he's gone over to Italy trying to mend his broken heart, and then all of a sudden, this mysterious woman comes out of nowhere, the most beautiful woman on the train, sits down next to him, and just starts making like really aggressive, almost bitchy type moves towards him. And so he's like, "What does this woman want with me?" Well, it turns out we learned earlier in the film that she's supposed to have a rendezvous with an even more mysterious man who stole not millions, but billions from this English guy who's the mobster who surrounds himself with Russian mobsters.
The bad guy
also.
from Beverly Hills Cop.
Yes, that guy. Yeah. No. I don't
Yeah,
think
Victor LeMay or Victor
Maitland.
Maitland. Victor Maitland. Yeah, absolutely. It was Victor Maitland.
Is that the same guy?
Yeah, it's the same guy. I've seen that movie like 100 times. I love Beverly Hills Cop. Just the first one.
Because that dude got fat.
Yeah, it's been 20 years. I mean,
He's
give
an
a
old
brother
guy.
a break.
Yeah.
Yeah, longer than that. Yeah. Was he?
He's no spring chicken.
I only recognized him at first because of that weird bump on his forehead.
Yeah, I guess that's what should have gave it away.
Yeah.
So this guy has gone completely into hiding, and he's telling Angelina Jolie, I'm like fucking Where's Waldo now. You'll find me when you find me. But meanwhile, to throw the cops off, find somebody who has my height, my build, might look kind of like me from a distance, and that guy's probably just gonna take the rap from the cops. Nothing too bad is going to happen to him. It's just going to throw them off until the mobsters see this too, and they're like, okay, we got to get that guy, get our money back, and destroy him. So you have one of those classic tales of mistaken identity in a beautiful foreign country, kind of like you were saying, charade.
Yeah,
It's something that would be directed by Alfred Hitchcock and star Cary Grant.
Yes.
Well, that's
what
Charade has
they're
Cary Grant.
chasing. That's exactly what they're chasing with this film. I'm not saying they accomplish it because I don't think that they do, but at points it's so convincing that you're rooting for it too. You're with it just because you want it to be those films. There's definitely a lot of class to this. I mean, it's dripping with class at points, but then it'll do something like pull out a cliche so old that it was tired even then. Like have one of the bad guys' thugs come up and go, "I'm sorry, I fucked up," and then the bad guy kills him personally.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
Come on, man, that's like the oldest cliche.
Yeah,
in
when the
book.
bad guys come in, they're just like, "Well, I pay you to kill this man, and you have failed me for the last time." you know the guy's gonna die. Yeah, it has all those cliches,
like,
man.
Sean Connery, James Bond film. All of a sudden, no, you're right. The thing is, this movie is filled with a lot of cliches, and the thing, you're hoping it'd be somewhat of a. I'm not saying Alfred Hitchcock, but somewhere along the lines of a fun story where there'd be some kind of good suspense, but unfortunately this film wasn't. At least when I was watching it, it felt like the first 20 minutes felt like I was watching Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, because every time they'd walk into a beautiful room, a beautiful hotel room or a beautiful ballroom, the camera would linger for like it seemed like for ages, like going across with the bourgeois music. You
can't afford
Jolie
this.
walking in looking like she's in a new Maybelline commercial or something, and I'm Jolie
this.
walking in looking like she's in a new Maybelline commercial or something, and I'm just like, wow, I'm really hanging out in this ballroom. A little
Really?
bit.
Now,
I feel like shit.
Now, let me ask you something.
I feel poor right
I
now.
gotta put this back on you now because you know what this reminded me of, but probably a more lighthearted and more mainstream version of The American, which you liked. It was
Yeah,
very
well,
slow.
They're both old school spy stories. They're just
Yeah.
different kinds of old school
this
spy
one I thought
stories.
was a little bit more goofy.
Yeah,
Well,
it's-
you're right.
It's, like I said, I compared it to Charade. It's going for the spy comedy or North by Northwest or something
That's
like that.
no, that's what I
where
was going to
there's-
name. Like Charades is directed by that's not Hitchcock.
It's not Hitchcock, but
Yeah,
a lot of
that's,
people. It was famously reviewed by I can't remember what it is. Some famous critic at the time of saying the best Hitchcock film that Hitchcock never made.
Stanley Donen.
Yeah.
The guy directed that. But you nailed it right there because this
That
was
must have
making.
been before Brian De Palma.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
Except no one would say that about
No.
one of his films.
No, he ain't even close. But no, this reminded me of one of my favorite Hitchcock movies, and this is probably why I'm partial to liking it, which is a Cary Grant film, North by Northwest.
Oh, yeah.
I
No.
really, but it was a definite combination of something like Charade and North by Northwest, leaning towards more Charade because this definitely leans more on the romantic side of things.
Absolutely. And like I said, it's really going for that whole sort of old school Hollywood feel to it. And I think that on that level, it really achieves it. I mean, and it's partially due to the fact that it takes its time. It really sets up this place. It makes you feel like you're in Venice at these fabulous places. I like it that the action is not improbable. You know, like these type of movies always have to have action scenes now that are just, I mean, they're ridiculous.
So it's
You're
not like
you-
Wanted?
they're like, yeah, it's not like Wanted. You're like, you see the action scenes in films like this, usually the just from the first one, you're like, okay, well, this is just a fantasy. This could never happen.
Yeah.
But all the action in here is plausible. It's not till the twist at the end that you're like, okay, that seems really unlikely.
Well,
but it does feel like the type of twist that would happen in one of these type of films in old school Hollywood.
Even though it did remind me of like, yeah, for a little while, I was expecting Inspector Clouseau to show up because the comedy's almost so. The chase scenes are almost so kind of goofy that it doesn't help when the music accompanies it too to remind you that don't worry. He's gonna make it. He's gonna be okay.
It's lighthearted
This is
entertainment.
lighthearted fun for the whole family. And honestly, I wasn't really expecting that. Maybe I didn't see enough trailers for it, but I was kind of just going, okay, I guess this isn't all that serious at all.
I think they were, as Corey said, focusing more on it being a sort of a romantic adventure more than a like tense spy thriller.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mind how slow it was because I felt like they wanted you to center on your two leads, which is Angelina Jolie and Johnny Depp more. And you know, it is very old school. It is very stylish in the ways of combining elements of the 50s, 60s, and 70s. I mean, the exotic locales, the luxurious hotel rooms, the lavish soundtrack that they use. But that's where it missteps for me because all of that is working so well for me. And then they'll get into an action scene of Johnny Depp trying to escape from the mobsters, jump onto a roof. All of a sudden, there's like synthesizer keyboard music come out of nowhere.
Well, that's what Kellos was saying.
That's
that
what I
by
just
Jim.
said. Yeah, it just sounds goofy, and it really takes you out of the movie where you're like, okay, well, what are you trying to be here? I mean, first you're trying to be Alfred Hitchcock, now you're trying to do Peter Sellers.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm kind of like wondering what am I?
That's a great point, man.
What am I to expect here now?
That
yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
a problem for me because, like I said, I felt like it was lighter. But what was the real big problem with me for this film is that both leads, are like they know exactly what they want to do. Like they're like, I have this character. I've watched all these films. I mean, Angelina Jolie especially, she really gets it. I mean, she's gorgeous. She is that person that every head in the room turns when you see walk into it here because she's got that kind of Grace Kelly class here. But they feel like the first time they even talked was walking onto the set. It feels like they didn't exchange notes, and there's absolutely no real chemistry between the two of them.
You're absolutely right. I was just about to say that's another one of the biggest flaws I had with this film was I felt no chemistry between the two. It did feel like they were just reading lines cold to each other because that's my biggest problem is I felt no connection between these two, and I didn't even. It didn't make any sense to me even towards the end where all of a sudden they have this bond where it just felt way too forced, where I feel like I missed like a big chunk of a scene where they were actually together being intimate or sharing something about their lives together that really made them bond. But I didn't get that. So it really, as the film progressed, I just didn't. I didn't feel anything.
Well,
for
you know
people,
what?
Why they even cared about each
Yeah,
other.
there are sparks definitely just absolutely absent in these scenes. It makes you wonder why they didn't get Brad Pitt instead. Oh yeah, he'd probably just be tired.
What, you hire Johnny Depp just to babysit the kids?
I think maybe it came across too goofy sometimes because I think Johnny Depp was miscast. I don't think he should have been in this role. I think when he's trying to play an ordinary guy, as he is here, he is playing it a little bit too goofy. It doesn't work. They needed to get a person who we could buy as an ordinary guy who blends right in, because he does not, whether it be because of his crazy hair or whether it be because of his face.
Should have been Sam Rockwell.
Yeah, shit, could have.
Yeah.
I mean, it's somebody of that nature.
It's interesting you bring that up because Johnny Depp is known for being a great actor, but he almost never plays a regular guy. When he does, you get something like Nick of Time, where it's
God.
like, man.
At this point, he can't. Honestly, because of all his roles, he just can't. I don't think anybody can buy that.
But then maybe that was part of the problem, is how we picture them really is like, well, they're both royalty, so it's kind of hard for us to like picture them like that. Whereas if you got somebody who we considered not a schlub, but someone who's most definitely not an A-list actor
Well,
to
yeah,
play that
And
role.
that is the fault of the casting director with this movie. But the other biggest problem that I had with this movie was the end. Was the end where they explain to you what exactly is going on, and it's one of those endings that almost ruins the entire movie.
Oh, no.
To where you're like, okay, this seems like you just kind of made this up on the spot because maybe your ending wasn't all that interesting to begin with, or you had no idea where you really wanted to go with this story. But it really just, it almost insulted me to where I'm like, really? You're going to expect me to buy that?
See, I suspected
Really?
from the beginning that was going to be the
Which
case.
is the thing is,
so
yeah,
I didn't think
yeah.
it felt made up at all. I was like, okay, well, this seems like this is where this is going to go eventually. And sure enough, it does. And it's silly and it's implausible, but it's not impossible, and it feels like exactly what they used to do with these type of movies back in the day.
Yeah.
They always had that cute twist at the end like that to make it even more romantic.
Maybe that's the problem because I've seen it before, but it is one of those endings where you're just like, come on, man. I mean, you're like,
Yeah,
give me a fucking break.
You told me the ending too, and I was
Yeah.
just like, you know something, that just seems like a thing you did not have to do. This should have been more of what we saw before, just an old-fashioned story of romance and mistaken identity and a spy thriller.
And maybe if we had been rooting more for the Johnny Depp character in this, we would have bought more into that ending. It would have been like, you know what, I don't care that's silly. I still enjoyed it because I'm so happy
Yeah.
that things work out.
Yeah.
You know, but the fact that you're not really buying their relationship at all doesn't help sell that. One
Yeah, and I think no, Johnny Depp is a great actor. I think he can play an average guy. I just think here that they had a role that they were really trying to push. Like maybe it's the writing. They like, hey, this guy's just an average guy, so he has to act way too surprised when he's somebody like Angelina Jolie sits down next to him.
I'm Elise.
I'm Frank.
That's a terrible name.
It's the only one I've got.
Maybe we can find you another.
Okay. What brings you to Venice?
You read spy novels. I'm a mysterious woman on a train. You tell me what my story is.
Okay. I think you'd be a diplomatic attaché. Or maybe a girl from East Germany whose father's been kidnapped. And they're blackmailing you into stealing something for them. Probably a microfilm. There's usually microfilm involved.
What awaits me?
Trouble, certainly.
Danger.
Oh, yeah. You'll most likely be shot at in less than 2 chapters.
But I didn't see all the movie. I had to leave a little more than halfway through, so I'm not going to even rate the film.
He was just
But-
a tourist.
Yeah, I was just walking my way through the movie.
Over
gotta
here,
go.
you'll see the scene where Johnny Depp is
I looked over at Cyrus. I was like, man, Corey must be taking a huge shit. This is a great ending.
He had some hot girl come sit next to him and entice him out of the theater.
Yeah.
I had some hot girl
Now,
sit
once
to
you got
me.
outside and see in the light.
She sat next to me in the stall when I was taking a shit. Hey, you got a TP? But no, I was enjoying what I saw, just not entirely. Like, yeah, some parts of it were a little goofy. I mean, Johnny Depp falling off of a pier and crashing into a bumbling Italian policia who's like,
I know. See, I thought that was cute. That fit the tone totally for me, and it didn't go too far with it. If they had keep coming back to that cop, I would have been like, okay, this is irritatingly quaint. Okay, but that's just like, okay, just a moment and it's over.
It didn't bother me. It just stood out. It was like, hey, I don't need you to take it this far, but you could have. It bends a little bit, doesn't break. But I mean, everything else in here you can predict, but not to a bad level. It's to a comfortable level. There's enough going on here where you walk in, you see what's happening, you know what it is. Paul Bettany plays the flustered Scotland Yard inspector who can't catch the mysterious guy. He knows his role. You got Rufus Sewell as
playing
the
guy.
other.
Remember when I was supposed to be a big star by now? Playing that guy.
He's like looking at the camera. I'm still handsome. Look at me.
And the funny thing is, throughout the whole movie, you can tell that guy is really he's playing a role in a whole nother movie because it does not match the tone of what we're watching.
Wait,
at all.
Paul Bettany or Rufus?
No, Rufus Sewell, who's like, who just, you see him every once in a while, and you're like, really? Like, that's not important? And by the end, you're just going, man, poor Rufus Sewell. I really like that guy.
I do too.
Yeah, but he's always got these roles where he's trying to take the hero's woman. So he's like, yo, you can't succeed like that. Come on.
Well, they hardly even give him any room to talk here.
Yeah, literally.
It's
He gets
almost like he wants to come in and act like, all right, it's like, not yet. Just
You're
sit
being
back.
paid scale, sit down.
Frustrated. He looks frustrated at the characters he's interacting with and at his agent.
Yeah, Rufus, one more time, and we're getting somebody else. I'm sorry. Okay.
sorry, you guys.
Yeah, I'll sit down. Go get
And
some
then
meat.
Timothy Dalton as sort of the head boss, who also is just there so people can go, look, it's Timothy Dalton.
Yeah,
and then he's
which I really wanted to see more of him, which
Yeah.
maybe you did. I wasn't there.
not really. I mean, he's a sort of a Deus ex machina towards the end. We forgot all about Timothy Dalton's character, didn't you? But
Yeah, I did enjoy what I saw. By the point that I was leaving, it was like it's a little bit too familiar for me. I mean, they don't try to do anything different. You can say that, oh well, this is that type of movie, but I always think like, we've seen so much of that. It gets to a point, if you haven't seen enough of that, then go ahead and repeat it. If you've seen it over and over again and it's that predictable, throw a little something different in there. But the movie was so beautiful and the romance was so nice that even as silly as it got sometimes, that it was a matinee film for me. But, I don't know.
I thought its silliness harkened back to stuff we haven't seen in a long time. I want to see more stuff like this and not of the let's throw in absolutely everything. It's got to be bigger and huger and more explosive than the last movie like this. I mean, this is the answer to film problems like Night and Day and fucking, what was that other even worse one with Katherine Heigl? The Killers.
Yeah.
This is the type of film that if they want to do a spy romantic, though, this is what they should make. I mean, not those shitty films. But even so, like I said, it had its biggest problem was really just that, like I said, there was no chemistry between the leads on the whole. You can't not admire both those actors. They're really good at what they do. They just didn't seem like they really liked each other that much. But I'm going to give it a high matinee because I really think it is worth going to see in the theater. But don't get too excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed like Johnny Depp and Angelina Jolie it seemed like they were doing a favor for a friend while making this movie.
Or taking a trip, like you said.
Exactly. That's the first thing I thought about. It's like, hey, you know what? This is just one of those check movies where I get a nice check and I get a really kick-ass vacation with a really hot fucking broad.
Maybe there's a competition over who was the prettiest.
Yeah.
That could have been. Those probably would have made a far better movie.
A pretty off.
than what I saw, because it looked like the director and the writer seemed like they were fans of films like North by Northwest, but and probably the Pink Panther films, but it just really didn't mesh well. It definitely seemed a little too forced. And I just, honestly, I found myself kind of bored with it. Besides the beautiful scenery in Venice, I'm like, I'll just go to Venice. I don't really need to waste my time in that theater, because watching this film, I felt like Jesus Christ, I need to travel because I feel like a goddamn bum. And why am I not beautiful like Johnny Depp and Angelina Jolie? How did I get screwed in the deal?
It's okay. I'll get you a Johnny Depp mask for your birthday.
Thank you.
What was your rating?
I'm gonna give it a rental. Yeah.
Okay.
There are little things. I definitely think Johnny Depp and Angelina, as far as saying anything good, they were fun to watch. But that's about it. As far as their characters are concerned, they had no chemistry. But there were moments where it was fun to watch.
I guess that's true. When I say the romance, it was like it's fun when it's being funny, but when it actually gets down to seeing them have to be even somewhat vaguely intimate, whether it's real or not. It's like, I don't know if I'm buying this.
You're watching, you're going, wow, this is actually well filmed and it's well written, those sequences, but neither one of them looks like they're into it.
Yeah, it looks like they're having fun when they're being silly about it.
Yeah.
Like when she first meets him, he's all flustered.
Yeah,
It's
when they're
like,
being goofy, it works.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what this movie could have used, though? We were talking about who would have been better cast than Johnny Depp. Obviously, what a comeback film this would have been for Eddie Murphy. Because it would have been the return of Victor Maitland. You could have him play action. They could just be Beverly Hills Cop 4. You know? Why not?
Yeah.
That would be a huge success.
But then you couldn't get Angelina Jolie. You have to get a transvestite, like maybe like Cher.
Yeah, and Eddie Murphy would have to be in a fat suit.
Look, Judge Reinhold needs work, okay?
Hey, look, so does Sheila E. But
By the way, the villain at the end of this movie is revealed to be the director, because his name is Florian Henkel von Donnerschmark.
Oh, I know, right?
Oh, that's the guy that took over after Dr. Doom left Nigeria.
Exactly.
See the interview with Corey's going to do them later where he's stroking a white Persian cat the entire time.
didn't that guy try to conjure up the Cthulhu for Hitler?
Something
Back
like
in
that.
World War II.
Yeah.
Machine that made it snow all over the world.
Yeah, he constantly.
Simon Says.
Yeah, he's constantly killing second AD directors and best boys and saying, "Get me another second AD."
You have failed my shot for the last time.
I know he will be with her. You wish to report a murder.
Attempted murder.
That's not so serious.
Not when you downgrade it from murder. But when you upgrade it from room service, it's quite serious. I don't regret it, kissing you.